that somebody was coming into our church and they're black, and would they be eligible for membership in our church? Yes, they of course they would. They'd be eligible for membership in our church. But would they be permitted to participate in, embody, and practice what I would call black culture generally in our church? The answer is absolutely not. Why? Because the characteristics that mark black culture as a generalization, in the same way Paul's talking about Cretans on Crete, they are evil, murderous, violent, bestial people. They steal, they kill, they destroy. They are sinful to the core. They have besetting sins that are like fatherlessness, sexual immorality. They molest children at a high rate. All of any criminal statistic that you could look at, almost pretty much without exception, they excel at them. Black culture.
And it's even interesting. I mentioned it before, but like the black guy on TikTok, he was saying, he's like, y'all crazy. Like, you're talking about this person like it's mental health. He said, that ain't no mental health. That's a demon.
Yeah.
So, I mean, a lot of people are seeing that. Like, this behavior is demonic. To walk up to a white girl.
But yeah.
And to cut her throat.
Because she's white.
Because she's white, and be like, yeah, we got that white girl.
We got that white girl. And when you think about it, you look at that culture and you say, what are the besetting sins and characteristics of it? And then you say, could somebody come in a lawful church membership embodying that culture? No. They have to self-consciously.
Hello everyone, it's me here again, Noble, and welcome back to the channel. A white pastor is facing backlash after mocking black culture and making esteemed comments about black men during a sermon. Clips played fast online and the reaction was immediate. Many people called his words racist and irresponsible, especially coming from a faith leader. The comment pushed back and demanded accountability.
Of blacks who are committing murder is more than whites.
Right.
And whites are significantly greater.
60% compared to 13% of
the population. Yeah.
So if you take that, and then you took a law like Deuteronomy 21, which is a just law that God enacted through Moses. The law was that if you had a rebellious son, you have a child they're coming up into their manhood and they're rebellious, they don't listen. He lists some characteristics, and even though they're disciplined, they will not turn. He says the fathers to bring them out into the town square. This is a rebellious son, and then they stone him to death. They kill him.
And an armed robber would certainly be one of those.
Oh, absolutely. Armed robber, all the ghetto
violent
culture.
crimes.
Basically, take ghetto culture, it would describe this to a T. If you did that over 3 generations, how much violent crime would you have in the 3rd and 4th generation? Much, much less.
The actual number of blacks who are committing murder is more than
white.
Whose man's is this? Whose man's is this? I need one of you triple K, troglodyte, translucent, hyperallergenic to the sun, cave dwellers to come get your grand wizard, Brian Suave here, the pastor of the refugee church in Utah. Yeah, somebody needs to come get him before somebody goes and gets him, because talking out the side of your neck has penalties these days.
The characteristics that mark black culture as a generalization, in the same way Paul's talking about Cretans on Crete, they are evil, murderous, violent, bestial people. They steal, they kill, they destroy, they look like Satan in how they act. They are sinful to the core. They have besetting sins that are like fatherlessness, sexual immorality. They molest children at a high rate. All of any criminal statistic that you could look at, almost pretty much without exception, they excel at them. Black culture.
Well, so the man married to his sister wife with their 7 children in Ogaden, Utah, is projecting. Yeah, must be projecting, because I know we're not just going to run past this stat when it comes to that offensive nature of white men to children. Are we? I could go over the stats on white crime, but see, this isn't about facts. This is about bigotry and racism and those whose mentality houses it. Oh, and this snow sloth is not done, because he had more to say about what should happen to black ghetto culture.
Population, yeah. So if you take that, and then you took a law like Deuteronomy 21, which is a just law that God enacted through Moses. The law was that if you had a rebellious son, You have a child they're coming up into their manhood, and they're rebellious. They don't listen. He lists some characteristics, and even though they're disciplined, they will not turn. He says the fathers to bring them out into the town square. This is a rebellious son, and then they stone him to death. They kill him.
And an armed robber would certainly be one of those.
Oh, absolutely. Armed robber, all the ghetto culture.
Violent crimes.
Basically, take ghetto culture, it would describe this to a T. If you did that over 3 generations, how much violent crime would you have in the 3rd and 4th generation? Much, much less.
And understand it well, especially those of you all who have adopted the religion of the oppressor. Pastor Brian Suave here meant everything he said, literally. Yeah, you all can go and say, well, he was talking figuratively in a biblical sense. Isn't the Bible where they get their moral compass from? Yeah, he meant what he said. He was basically saying the only good black person or rocket raccoons are those who are in service to swallowing the glizzy of white supremacy. Everybody else needs to be stoned. And that's why I will treat anybody with that mentality, or anybody who follows people with that mentality, as the enemy. And I won't be turning my back on them. And if they knew what was good for them, they should never turn their back on me either. Now, y'all have the day you deserve, and may the ancestors judge you accordingly to your actions.
America has a unique form of Christian nationalism, which is rooted in white supremacy. So much so that scholars, historians, preachers, speakers, pundits come online, on TV, write books, share their stories and dissertations about how the white savior complex is the reason that the world was saved.
If slavery never happened, then you would be in a grass hut. Yeah. Right? Well, we need reparations. Your reparations are that you get to live in America. You're welcome. You're welcome.
You get to have the Christian religion.
That's
live
right.
better than your ancestors.
The greatest moment in history for any brown or black country is the moment that the white man's ships arrive on your shore.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
To come online and say that the best thing to happen to black and brown people was white men showing up to their shores is not only historically inaccurate, it's a fallacy. One of the worst things to happen to the natives of the Americas, of Africa, the Indian, Southeast Asians, was the exploration of European men to the rest of the world. They love to present this trope that everyone was a savage in the rest of the world and that Europe was developed, when in reality, in the courts of Versailles and in the French court, they were defecating on floors and peeing on walls next to where they were eating. They had no running water. They had the plague because they didn't shower. They invented corsages because instead of smelling their funk, they would smell the flower. Meanwhile, the Mayans and Aztecs developed floating gardens to build gardens. They had a complex knowledge of the stars and the moon. They had pyramids. And in West Africa, one of the most complex structures in the world was the Benin Walls. And Britain couldn't get in. So what did they do? They bombed it. They destroyed one of the most intricate developments of humankind. And if West Africans were so underdeveloped in their grass huts, why are all the Benin bronzes in Europe? Why did the Gold Coast, why did Ghana save England from going bankrupt? If Africa and Latin America and Southeast Asia and India were so poor and so underdeveloped, why do all of your current day customs in modern day Europe and a lot of white culture come from these places? Silk, tea, corn, sugar. I can name a myriad of things. It's insane to me. You, a white man that has the spreading the love of the Lord in your bio, can come online and say that black people and brown people should be thankful for colonization, subjugation of rape and murder, disjointment of families, the subsequent oppression. Laziest people with the most entitlement in this country and around the world are mediocre white men. You benefited from slavery. Your people were made whole. You were given land, you were given opportunities, you were given reimbursement, you were given payment. What were we given? We were given oppression, Jim Crow, subjugation, oppression, and they continue lies like this that you continue to perpetuate. Here you are, a God-fearing Christian man, spreading hate, spreading lies, spreading rhetoric, and making other people believe it. And that's the scariest thing about white Christianity, white nationalism, and white supremacy in this country, because white extremism is growing at an alarming rate. And people just believe the lies because most people in this country are dumb. It's increasingly frustrating to live in America as a black man, especially one with a brain, when you see this type of rhetoric is growing rapidly online, especially with the current administration. It's becoming normalized. And
This situation shows how powerful and damaging words can be. What do you think? Comment below and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next video.